welcome to On the Ledge podcast, episode 133. I'm your host, Jane Perrone, and this week we are going on a houseplant tour. Yes, it's just what you need when you're stuck in your home 24/7, a chance to nose around somebody else's houseplant collection via this podcast. And I answer a question about what to put in a south-facing window. Thank you for all your lovely feedback about everything I'm doing at the moment. People seem to really enjoy the birdsong on the midweek bonus episode number 2, so I'll be trying to bring you more of that in coming episodes because, well, who doesn't like the sound of birds singing? And also my daily videos on Instagram of me bugging out about various plants are proving very popular. Thai Constellation was the latest offering yesterday and lots of excitement about that plant. I did actually do a longer version, but I had to cut it to get it under 10 minutes. So you missed my crazy introduction with me singing. So thank God that had to be cut. Thank you to new patrons Katie, who became a legend, Ian, who became a superfan, and Ross, who became a crazy plant person. It's wonderful to have extra support from listeners at this time when I'm sure everyone's purse strings are tightening, so thank you to all of you who are continuing to give and those of you who are new to the clan. You can now hear my interview with Matt Candeas about the film Little Joe, and there's more Extra Leaf episodes on their way. I got an email this week from a listener and this one really did floor me and I'd like to read it out to you. It's from a listener called Sally. Sally writes, I'm a physician in the Midwest and I'm currently working on the front lines with the COVID-19 pandemic in my hospital. We see and examine several patients daily with suspicious symptoms. Tests take a long time to come back. We wear protective equipment, but supplies are running out. Even if we try our best, we can contract the virus or worse yet, silently carry and shed it, infecting others, including our precious families. We live in fear, even when we change our clothes before entering the house each night. For the moments when I see your Instagram videos or listen to your regular podcast or the new midweek extras, I forget about the risk and uncertainty. I remember that attention to plants, people and pets that we love is essential to our quality of life and the world around us. There is hope. Your embrace of plant lovers in this crisis is helping much more than you know. Well, Sally, thank you so much for that. Here's the message I sent back to Sally. First of all, thanks for everything you're doing. It's awe-inspiring and special, and I know I couldn't do what you do. Thank you for taking me the time to send me this email. What I'm doing is easy, but if it's helping you and others, that makes me so happy and encourages me to keep going. So thank you, Sally. I'm going to say it again. Thank you so much for sending me that message. It really did lift my day as well as making me cry. And I'm hoping that there are other people in all different situations around the world coping with COVID-19 who might also be drawing a little bit of strength, a little bit of relaxation and a little bit of joy from On the Ledge podcast. Shortly before the whole coronavirus thing really kicked off, I travelled down to Kent for 2 interviews and we're going to be hearing the first of those today. And it's with somebody called Mercy Morris. Mercy runs a garden maintenance firm in the county of Kent. She also sells houseplants and offers advice and is a particular specialist in air plants. And she has the distinction of becoming the first person to open their house for the National Garden Scheme for visits by arrangement. Now, if you've not heard of the National Garden Scheme, it's an organisation that coordinates garden visits across Britain, and the money that's made from the entrance fees goes to various different charities. It's a wonderful organisation, and it gives you the opportunity to visit loads of amazing gardens around England and Wales. There is a Scottish version of the NGS too. I'll put links to the NGS and the Scottish version of the NGS in my show notes. And if you ever get the chance to get hold of their yellow book, which is a guide to all these gardens, then please do, because it's a wonderful resource. But you can just search online to find a garden near you if you happen to live in the UK or are visiting. Except, of course, this year all of the openings have been cancelled due to coronavirus, including Mercy's plans to open up her house for houseplant tours. So it's rather nice that I can bring you this audio tour of her collection that we put together. And if you look on the show notes, you'll also see lots of images from her beautiful houseplant collection. Mercy had just become the national collection holder for Chlorophytum comosum cultivars, that's our good friend the spider plant, so it was wonderful to be able to see a national collection of houseplants too. So come with me as I take a trip into houseplant heaven with Mercy Morris. Well, let's officially start by saying hello, Mercy Morris. We're here in your front room, back room, I don't know how you describe this room, and I'm the first, you haven't had a tour yet for your NGS opening of your wonderful houseplant collection, so I guess I'm honoured to be getting the experience of coming on this tour. I think this is really special that the NGS has agreed to have this as an open house tour, which is by arrangement only. Did you go to them, or how did it come about?
Well, I met one of the local NGS guys last year when I was selling houseplants at somebody else's open day.
Right.
And he just said to me in passing, why don't you open for houseplants? And initially I thought, oh, it's a stupid idea. I've got such a small house. And then the idea kept going round and round in my head, and I thought, actually, no, that would be really fun. It would be really good for houseplants, wouldn't it? Because people, then they'd be almost as important as garden plants to people.
Heaven forfend, that should be the case, yeah.
So I got them round, and they did say I was mad, but they didn't say I couldn't do it. So here we are.
And you have got a wonderful collection. We've just heard today that you've been awarded the status of national collection holder of Chlorophytum cultivars?
Chlorophytum comosum cultivars.
Okay, fantastic. You have to have your teeth in to say that lot. And we're going to see as we go round some of your collection, which we can talk about further. There's loads of big leaves in here. Should we start with some of these big leaves?
Can I take you to the beginning of the whole thing?
Yes, you can. That is a beautiful Swiss cheese plant, can I just say? That is a really nice specimen.
This is Austin Morris, and he was the first houseplant that I had that lived. My mother was deeply into plants, and she spent most of my childhood trying to get me into plants as well.
Right.
Didn't work, and as a student, I went away as a student, and I had lots of plants that I killed, and this was the first one that actually lived. So he is 33 years old this year.
Marvellous.
Bought him in Marks and Spencer's. He's that short because I take him out the pot, turn him into cuttings and shrink him again, so he's nice and short.
Yeah, he's very compact, isn't he? And I think that is a really good tip, because lots of people get to the stage with their Swiss cheese plant where it does get a bit out of hand, and they kind of very much fear doing that hack back. But your plant really shows that works brilliantly, because it's got beautiful fenestrated leaves, it's got very mature leaves, but it's a reasonable size.
Yeah.
I'm taking a leaf out of your book, literally, with my own monsteras when they get to that stage, because that is the way to do it. I love the way you've got the black label, Leicester M&S, 1987. That is brilliant.
Yes. And it's moved house with me many, many times. Sometimes I've taken it on the train. Last time it moved house, I had to get a friend to put it in his car because it's quite heavy.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's a bit of a job to repot, but it's a fantastic looking plant. And you've kept it looking in a great shape, and it's very, very healthy. And I'm sure there's always somebody looking for a cutting.
Yes, right? Yes. So
you've got one there.
That's the scruffy one from the last lot, but it's due to be done in about April. So if people want to see it in its full glory, they need to come and see me.
Okay. And so people can contact you and to make an appointment to come and see your collection here in Herne Bay in Kent. I was forgetting where we are for a minute. How busy are you expecting to be with this tour? Is it going to be you're going to wait and see?
Yeah.
I would have thought, as the first houseplant offering from the NGS, that would be an attractive option. for people, but I guess only time will tell.
Exactly. I think a lot of the established NGS garden visitors are so used to visiting herbaceous borders and shrubberies and so on that they will be a bit hesitant about it, perhaps. But I'm hoping also that it'll bring people who've never been to an NGS garden in before, perhaps a younger crowd who are into houseplants,
I'm sure,
rather than home gardens, that sort of thing. So...
And let's just turn to this wonderful stepladder with some of your chlorophytum, comosum plants on it. That's a great way to display plants. I'm always looking. I never find those wooden steps. I'm always like looking for them outside junk shops. It's one of those things that has to kind of serendipity has to be in place, or perhaps you have to go to your granddad's garage to look for one.
That was sheer luck. All of the ones I've seen have been about £30 to £60. I found that one for £5.
Oh, goodbye. Yes. And you've got lots of chlorophytum comosum. How many cultivars are there in your national collection?
It is about 17 or 18, but that may reduce as I find some of them are identical plants but with separate cultivar names.
Right. And what made you choose chlorophytum comosum cultivars as a subject for a national collection? Because it's not too massive and not too...
Yes, that's one of the reasons. It's quite a compact collection, so you can have it in a small home. Also, I think they're so underappreciated. As houseplants, they are really long-suffering. They're the easiest thing in the world to propagate. They just propagate themselves while you sit there and do nothing. And I think the world really needs to see them for the beauties that they are.
What's your favourite cultivar of the...
Oh,
I don't know, that's
my
favourite child, but you know...
is Hawaiian spider.
Oh, lovely.
Which
that's
is
beautiful.
Actually rather pretty, isn't it? It's more lime green and green stripes.
That's really nice.
And the little offsets are pale as well, so... That's my current
that's
favourite.
A nice one. And how easy have you found to pick all these up? I mean, we always think of spider plants as being, very common, but some of these cultivars are harder to get?
Yes, some of them I've had to get from another collector. There's a very generous gentleman called John Circuit who let me have some of the rarer cultivars that he's had in his collection for years. Apart from that, the usual thing, snooping around on eBay.
Yes, oh, the joys of the internet for looking for plants. That is a great source. And we turn and look, and we've got another enormous leaved plant on the other side, and a beautiful, is that one or two fiddle leaf figs? Tell me about this. I'm not even sure I can identify what kind of aroid that is.
That's a philodendron. It's got it's an irritating name, Philodendron Green Beauty, which really doesn't tell you anything other than it's large and green. I haven't been able to track which species it comes from. It just appeared on the market relatively recently.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And one of my friends said, Mercy, you have to have this. So I had it.
Yeah, that is how it goes, isn't it? That is exactly how it goes. And you've got these two lovely fiddle leaf figs. I mean, I'm often disappointed by fiddle leaf figs. They don't tend to grow very well, but your two look lovely and healthy. Are they challenging to look after, or do you find them okay?
Again, those are in their late 20s.
Oh, wow. So you were in on the fiddle trend before.
Yes, I was lucky enough
else
to find them in a florist's in Eastbourne when I was living there. And again, with those, I chop them down because otherwise they just go straight up like a skyrocket and they either fall over or they hit the ceiling. So I chopped them. The one on the right hand with the smaller leaves was chopped last year. And the one that's recovered was chopped the year before. And you can do cuttings of them relatively easily as well.
Yeah. Well, you have a wonderfully leafy living room. You've also got more shelves with more plants on them, some little baby spider plants I can see, and is that some bromeliads there, or some kind of... do I see a bromeliad or an earth star there?
Earth stars? Yes, they are earth stars. They're propagating at the moment.
Oh, look at that.
They are in little coir.
Oh, yes.
Pots.
Little coir pots.
I find them really difficult to root because they tend to live forever without rooting, and they take about 2 years for you to die. That's another spider plant that came from Wisley. That's narrow stripe, which is a pretty one. And it's various philodendrons, the other monstera.
Is that Adansonii, whatever
yes,
it is
the one
currently
that
being
they
described
argue
as.
all of the names for.
Yeah.
Philodendron Brazil.
Beautiful.
And there's always things hiding in the understory.
Yes, well, and why not? You've got some ZZ plants there.
Yeah, and I've got a possibly dead Dieffenbachia, but I'm not sure.
Oh.
So it's hiding in the understory until it decides whether it's alive.
There's always
or
a few
not.
things that have a wintertime problems, aren't there? There's always a few things that go by the wayside. Right, we're moving into your kitchen area now.
Yes.
And we've got some more bromeliads. What else have you got to tell me about?
Okay,
here?
so the kitchen's got a very dull window. It faces northeast-ish, but there's another building about a metre from it, so it gets no direct light. But that makes it quite good for the incredibly unpronounceable thing that I always say, it's a sort of calathea.
Oh my gosh,
But it's
okay.
a Pleostachia pruinosa.
Okay, that is a new one on me.
I think a lot of people call it the wheat flower plant.
Okay.
Because it's got the most, I have to say, dull flowers.
Is that a Maranta group? That looks like a Maranta group plant.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's a nice, well-behaved plant, but the flowers aren't exciting. Bromeliad rescued from the local home base.
Are you a plant rescuer? Or you're... The waifs and strays.
I go through phases of doing it, and then I go through phases of realising that I have to stop because there are far too many rescues.
Right.
But that was a good rescue. That little philodendron, that's the only place that it likes.
They're a bit fussy, aren't they?
They're weird.
My one has got very bare at the top. I've just done a load of propagating because all the top of the stems is all really, lots of leaves have dropped off. So I've propagated a load more stems to put in the top because it doesn't stay bushy otherwise. No. But yeah, they are.
You suddenly realise that's why you buy them in the nursery with lots and lots of little cuttings in the top.
Exactly.
I've completely forgotten his name.
Scindapsus pictus, yes, Scindapsus pictus.
Yes, but that's the only place.
Well, that's the thing. You just got to go with it, whatever it desires, because otherwise, it's not the easiest.
Right.
Now we're in this little room, which I'm guessing is your workroom.
Yes, little bit of everything. I bought. This is a succulent plant that I bought quite recently. I don't know whether you've had more experience with it than me.
Well, you know what? I think I saw one of these in
got more than one name.
In the glass house of a guy called Bob Potter, and I did an episode with him. He had lots of plants that looked like this. I think there are several different names. It is I guess somebody somewhere is probably going to call it the pencil cactus because it's got these pencil-like... Is that a stem? Is that a leaf? I don't know. Are you worried that it's not doing well? Or?
Oh no, it's doing very well. It's just I didn't expect it to do that. I bought it as really just a thick stem,
an actual pencil length. Yeah,
and then it started draping itself everywhere.
That was what Bob's were doing, I have to say, and I think he had his on some kind of trellis. So perhaps that's just the way they like to be.
Yeah, I mean, it seems happy.
Yeah. No, it's. You've got a lovely Hoya, a variegated carnosa, which is looking good. And like you've got that on a nice trellis. I'm trying to get my Hoyas to grow up rather than down now because keep catching my hair on them. Yes. That's a great setup you got there with the bamboo, U-shaped bamboo, and then a little trellis inside. That works really well.
Yes, I find it's a lot easier to keep them on bamboo canes. Certainly the nice U-shaped curved ones. Otherwise, they just go everywhere. They
do. They really do. And I'm very jealous of this beautiful begonia lucerna here. I've got the only begonia I can really grow is the beefsteak begonia, erythrosa. I've had these a couple of times and they always succumb to mildew.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. But that is a beautiful, I guess that's about 3 or 4 foot tall specimen.
It's just for the chop, actually. This
you're going to give it a good... Yeah, because it's getting towards the ceiling, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit wobbly.
Bit top-heavy.
Yes.
Bit top-heavy. Any tips for looking after that one?
I just treat it like dirt, I'm afraid. I slightly underwater it, but I slightly underwater everything.
Me too.
I'm terrified of overwatering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I cannot grow Begonia Rex at all.
Me
I
neither.
adore them, and I've
Me
killed
neither.
so many.
I mean, and people who do grow them, sort of, they're all casual. Oh yeah, they're really easy. What are you doing wrong? And you think, what am I doing wrong? And I mean, I must keep trying again. I have got one now that was given to me by a listener called June, and that one is actually doing. God, why am I saying this? But is doing okay. So you never know. I might be turning the corner, but again, I've kind of ignored it. Maybe that's the secret.
Yeah,
with these things.
that's the only begonia I really grow well, and I probably don't give it enough light because it doesn't flower regularly.
Right.
So I think probably if I put it in the window, it would flower, but it makes such a mess when it flowers.
Yeah, my
huge...
beefsteak begonia is flowering, and it's just going everywhere. And you just every few days, I'm with a dustpan and brush, just clearing up all the stuff underneath. So yeah, it does have its downsides, definitely.
It does, and there's more spiders in here.
Oh yes,
the green one, Chlorophytum camosum species here as well, so that seems to be quite happy there.
And do you sell? Do you have a selling aspect to your
I do.
plants?
I sell at local markets, so I sell in Whitstable and Canterbury face to face. I sell houseplants and air plants. I sell mainly the very simple things that people can enjoy rather than anything rare or difficult, because I think people kill so many houseplants and it makes them so miserable.
Yes, indeed. You want to make life easy. And have you found that business is brisk?
Yes, it's not bad at all. I think I sell more to younger people, which is fantastic. And I get a lot of people coming back and telling me how their plants are, which is really nice. That they such and such they bought 6 months ago is living, which is very exciting.
That is very exciting. Yes. Oh, that's great. Oh well, it's good to see that the houseplant trend is continuing.
Yeah. No, I think because I do a lot of talks to horticultural societies about houseplants, and that's the different end of the age scale.
Yes.
And they find it. They've never looked at Instagram or Twitter, and they find it unbelievable that there are a lot of plants on Instagram and Twitter, and that people who care about plants are all out there, and that there are young people getting into it.
I know. I've done those very same talks to gardening clubs around where I live in Bedfordshire, and exactly the same response. Oh, I've had that plant for years, and you're like, yeah, but everyone's getting really excited about it, but possibly on a platform that you're not aware of or using.
Yes.
So yeah, it's really, really interesting, that different demographic. And lots of them have got amazing expertise that can be tapped, but they don't really realise that anyone wants to tap it anymore.
No, there are these two groups who are completely unaware of each other.
We need to bring together we need some way of bringing together these two disparate groups of the younger people who are getting into plants and putting them all over Instagram, and the older generation of houseplant lovers who are got years of experience. I don't know how we do that. That's something to think about, isn't it? Let's go and have a look at more spider plants.
Yeah,
this is a great stand. Is that a hat stand?
It is. It's a bamboo hat stand that I got from a large internet retailer.
Oh, you can say IKEA, it's fine. You're allowed. It's not the BBC. It's okay.
No,
You're
it's
allowed to.
just Amazon. I got
Amazon,
where it came from. But yes, and it worked out perfectly as a spider plant display stand.
That is amazing. And you've got these macrame, what do you call them? Macrame?
I would say
knotted.
Yes, it's easy macrame for me.
Yes. No, they're great. I love the bright neon colours. That's amazing. And in fact, my husband would love that because it's the colours of his football team, blue and orange. So he'd be, I should do an exact copy of that and say, but dear, look, it's in the colours of your football team. And then he might be okay with adding more plants. But it's a great way of displaying quite a lot of plants without taking up a lot of room.
Yeah.
It's
quite nice, and they're quite easy to care for. I can reach all of them, because that's one of the problems once you have beyond a certain amount of houseplants, is trying to reach them when you're watering them.
Yes, and I don't know about you, but I don't have a whole day to spend just doing the watering rounds, so you've got to sort of make life easier for yourself, really.
Yeah, and I think if it's too difficult to water plants, you find yourself making excuses not to do it. Yeah,
exactly. And you can't also, it's easier at this eye level to see exactly what's going on. I find with plants that are high up, things can be going wrong and I haven't spotted them because they're not at that eye level. Whereas, if you saw a pest on one of these, you'd spot it pretty much immediately as you walk past. So
yes, it's always the high up plants that get overwatered as well, I think, because you're not quite there to think, oh, that's a bit funny.
Exactly. It's either dry as a bone or overwatered, one or the other, sometimes a combination of both.
That's one of my newer ones. That's just such a gorgeous colour. It's almost black.
The Raven ZZ plant, which I know lots of people are going nuts over. I haven't yet got one of those. I love the way that the young growth is this pale green, and then it seems to mature to the darker growth, which is kind of nice. It's very nice. I think it's quite hard to get in America still, that plant, but it's becoming more widely available. So it's coming our way. It's already here, but I think Americans find it harder to get hold of for some reasons I don't understand.
They normally get more expensive.
I know. It's true.
Mother-in-law's tongue.
Yes, the classic.
Sits there, behaves well.
Lots of bedroom plants. Oh right, yes, Rapis excelsa.
Yes. Is that It's very good in that it does nothing. So it will put up with low light conditions. Right. It's had virtually no proper light for about 2 years, so it's due for a reprieve soon to go somewhere where it gets a bit more light. Ditto the yuccas that have been there, 3 different ones for too long. So I like to swap things out and give them a bit of light and plump them up. And these, my unfeasibly large philodendron.
That's a beast. That is a beast.
It was reduced. I bought it reduced and I couldn't resist it. We had such a terrible trouble getting it in the car.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine.
Yes, again, I'm much relieved because there was a point this winter where it only had 1 leaf and I thought, oh no, it's not getting enough light, but it's just, that one came last week. This one's coming today, so I'm relieved. Yeah, I mean, it's got a good old... I imagine it's got a good old root system there and lots of lovely aerial roots. Is this bipinnitifidibulum? whatever, I can't say that. But so that's... So that, I would imagine you might have more difficulty keeping in size if it really goes off and gets big. Yes. I don't know, because it's just coming out of one central thing. I mean, I'm not trying to... provide problems for you here, but I mean, what do you once you get to a certain stage, will you move it elsewhere if it gets out of control, or will you just sort of allow it to lie next to you in bed? And there is a certain attraction about having it arching over. Yeah, I can see that actually. That would be quite cool. But I did think that if it gets out of control, I could possibly slice it under the topmost aerial root. The exciting thing about these aerial roots is I keep catching them going off underneath the furniture. So it was in the living room for a while, and quite a few of the aerial roots were exploring under the sofa to see if there was anything interesting they could get into there. I've heard this before of aroids, that the aerial roots do go on their little journeys around the place, which is great. That's what they're meant to do. Exactly. So it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. So other things I've got in here, I've got the... Oh yes, the very sexy... Plant of the moment. Variegated Monstera. Yeah. Which I hate to say I got free as a cutting. It's all right. I got one free actually from somebody, so you can say that to me and I won't be jealous. But it's... well, I mean, it is a lovely plant. I've got a bit blasé, I think. I don't love it as much as the plain one. Yeah. But I never quite love variegated ones as much because they don't have quite that shiny vigour. You just got to keep growing it until you get lots of cuttings, and then you can sell them on your stall at great... Yeah, exactly. Made your millions. I think that's probably, I mean, by the time... It may take a while, and then the price is probably coming down as we speak. But, they're still at a premium, aren't they, having said that? And then, of course, you've got the previous it plant, Pilea peperomioides, which is very generous with its babies. So that's... It is. It's another perfect propagator, like the spider plant, isn't it? You just have to sit there and wait for it to do it. Exactly. I've got more spiders. This was an it plant about 10 years ago. Moss ball. Yes. I was going fish shopping with somebody who liked fish, and I saw it. I thought, I could do with one of those. Yeah, I've got 3 in a big massive jar, and the jar has just gone completely green. And my son said, "What's in here?" the other day, and I said,
I'm not quite sure, but I need to clean it out
Yes.
and find out what's going on. A lot of algae, I think. I know it is actually algae, isn't it?
Yes.
But I think there was lots of other algae in there, which was blocking the view. But I guess it's the ultimate low-maintenance houseplant.
Yes.
And this is how I knew where to come, because your porch is also full of shelving with beautiful plants. And gosh, you've got lots of lovely cacti and succulents here. I don't know where to start, really. What's one of your favourites from this selection?
One of my favourites. I would say I'm rather fond of this Haworthia.
Oh, yes, the truncata, lovely.
I'm fascinated by the things that have these little transparent windows.
Yeah, the
on
windows
top.
are so cool, aren't they?
They are, yes. And there's another little Haworthia that's also got the transparent windows. The whole concept of that is just so exciting for me.
And what's this little one here? That looks amazing, and I don't recognise that.
That's a little crassula.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, you can see that it would actually like a little bit more light because it's growing very much in one direction. But it's that, again, that's a beautifully well
Crassula
behaved.
atropurpurea var anomala. I love it. I
lot
love
of
those
names.
flowers. Those
Yeah.
it looks amazing.
I'm
That's
sure
great.
a bit with roots may fall off as you leave the house. Look at all those bits with roots.
They're just calling out to me.
They are. They're saying, Jane, put me in your handbag.
I imagine this porch is quite good because it probably isn't too hot. And it's probably unheated out here, but it's just obviously not going to get frosted. Quite handy for all these cacti and succulents that like a bit of cool in the winter.
Yes, it stays just above freezing at all times. It did hit 40 last summer, but then it was very hot here last summer in general. So it doesn't get nearly as hot as the greenhouse gets.
Yeah.
Yes, they do enjoy it. They flower. Most of the things in here flower quite nicely. It's the only problem is choosing what to have in here and what not to have in here, because I could fill twice or three times the space if I.
Yes, of course. And when you're going off, taking your plants off to market, are you kind of sometimes thinking, I can't part with this? This is too beautiful, or do you only sell things that you already have a duplicate of?
No. There are 3 or 4 times in any year when I think, I shouldn't have sold that. I love that plant, and I'm not sure that person was trustworthy. You know?
Oh, yeah.
I want to interview them.
They need to give you a CV, a full interview. Yeah, they do need to give you all the information because, it could. It's devastating if something that you really love then goes to somebody who's going to kill it pretty quickly.
But then there are times when I think that exactly the right plant has reached the right person.
Right.
Like a young lady saw a monstera on my stand about 6-7 months ago, and her face, it was as if she'd come across a long lost relative. And she was just so happy, and at that point you think, oh, that's it, my work on this planet is done. I've made somebody really happy just by selling them a plant. So.
Oh, that must make it all worthwhile. Well, it's a really great collection of stuff here. You've got some things that I can't identify, and some things that I was going to say, what's
pelargoniums.
Oh, they're a pelargonium. Oh,
Yeah.
when you look at the leaf, it's obvious, but it just is so typical of what we're used to thinking when you think of pelargonium.
That's Pelargonium tetragranum, so it has quite big white and pink flowers.
Oh, wow.
In the summer. It is quite spectacular. It is slightly awkward in that it tries to grab me every time I leave the house.
I can imagine. Yeah.
What else we've got? There's a lot of Haworthias. That's another pelargonium there. I've got a couple of succulent pelargoniums. Platycephalum, and I think that one's Laxum. That, which looks like a very small aloe, is actually a bromeliad with the longest name in the world.
Oh my gosh.
Beginning with D.
Oh, I can just see half the way.
Deuteraconia lawrenceana.
Oh my gosh, they don't make it easy, do they?
No, that has tiny little lime green flowers. It's a fascinating little plant. I've got some purple prickly pears.
Oh wow. Did you grow those from seed?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Well, we're just starting off on the annual sow-along, so I'm encouraging people to grow stuff for seed. So it's good to see that you're doing that. And I think the good thing about cacti and succulents is it's not like growing tomatoes where you've got to be sort of potting them on and pricking them out immediately. You've got plenty of time.
Oh, yes. You've got many years with some of them, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, those are seed grown. That's Aloe melanocarpa. Yes, there's a few things here there's hechtias, which are South Middle American bromeliads with prickles. And I've no idea what that cactus is, but I found them in Lidl.
Yes, I have seen those before, and the name escapes me as well. I want to say, oh no, it's not in my brain. But yes, they're very. It's funny how suddenly some particular thing can just be everywhere, even if it's not very well defined as a house plant in the books. Which is strange. And I like your string of string of bananas.
Yes, it is.
Is that
going on forever? Senecio something or other.
Is it Herianus or is that a different one?
Oh, it could be.
Yeah,
yes.
Right, might be.
Again with tempting roots.
Oh yes, that's the thing, isn't it? That lots of these things are just kind of. They're just seeking out a bit of soil. In fact, you could just tuck it in one of these other pots and then make your life very easy.
That sort of thing does happen. Things have been known to root in
I'm sure.
other plants' pots.
I'm sure.
That's quite an unusual cactus, the Leuchtenbergia. Looks more like an aloe.
Yeah, with those crazy sort of spines on the end of a modified leaf, I guess.
Yes, I think they are. That used to belong to my mother, so that must be about 35 years old. Though it looks not very big.
Well, that's the thing. Some of these things are very slow growing, which I guess is a good thing.
Oh yeah.
In that you can keep your collection going without having to downsize too much. Well, that's lovely, and I can imagine you could just stand out here and tinker around with this lot for hours.
I do. This is my happy space. I come out here with the dustpan and brush and a little pair of snips and play with them all. Yeah, and rearrange them.
And people walking past can get the benefit as well. So that is really lovely.
I think really lovely. It's that funny plant.
Yes, we all know that look, don't we? Of people going, "What's going on in there?" Yes. What are those blue lights that we can see through the window?
Oh, yes. I've had some inquiries about lights.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah, in fact, the one in my front room is a white grow light for that very reason. Because I just thought, no, I'm not getting into that with my neighbours.
No.
Yes.
Not having the local teenagers popping around.
Exactly. In more in hope than expectation.
Yeah.
But so, well, it's a lovely collection. I'm sure you're going to get a great response to your first NGS tour. Remind me of the name of the group that are coming around because it's so good. The Crab and
Winkle WI from Whitstable.
Oh, they're going to love it. They are going to absolutely love it. And will you be plying them with tea and cake, or do they have to bring their own supplies?
No, I will ply them with tea and cake.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, I hope it goes really, really well. And thank you very much for showing me around the collection. I do hope you enjoyed that tour. As I've said, sadly, for the foreseeable, none of us are going to be able to go and visit Mercy Morris's houseplant collection in person. But if you do want to check out the show notes, and there you can immerse yourself in the wonderful photos of her plant collection, and you'll also find details of her page on the NGS website and her own website, home-plants.com. Thanks so much to Mercy for letting me have a look round her collection, and also for giving me a cutting of that little crassula that I was admiring, and an air plant. Speaking of which, early next week for Patreon subscribers, there'll be an episode of An Extra Leaf coming up in which I talk to Mercy about her air plant collection. And now it's time for Question of the Week. This one comes from Elizabeth, who's looking for recommendations on plants that can really be okay in a south-facing window without burning them in the summer. Can succulents work here? Signed, Elizabeth, a real newbie to houseplants. Well, it's a great question, Elizabeth, because the number of plants that are able to live in a really big south-facing window is large, but you've got to take care when you're picking those plants out. Any plant that's been sitting in a dark corner, even if it's a cactus or a succulent, will get sunburnt if you move it from that dark corner into a really bright area where it's going to be hit by full-on sun. So that's worth bearing in mind. Even the most sun-tolerant plants become a bit soft if they are kept in the shade. This is a really good time to realise this, because some of us will be moving plants from our houses out to greenhouses in the next few weeks, and this is when they are at high risk of getting sunburn. It's happened to some of my collection just through my own foolishness. So if you are moving plants into the sun, then do protect them with some fleece, or just move them gradually so they don't just have that sudden exposure and can build up their exposure. But if you're talking about a big south-facing windowsill, yes, most of the cacti will do very well there. On my Instagram videos this week, I talked about Euphorbia trigona, the African milk bush. Now, this really is a plant that if you've got a super hot south-facing conservatory, will do very, very well. Of course, that's a succulent, but not a cactus, because of course, as we all know, all cacti are succulents, but not all succulents are cacti. Things like agaves as well will probably do very nicely in as much sun as you can throw at them from your windowsill. If you've got something like Crassula ovata, the jade plant, a really common conservatory or sunny window plant, then this will do very well. If you've got the beautiful variegated cultivar Hummel's Sunset, then that will start turning these wonderful shades of yellow and red on the leaves if you expose it to lots and lots of sun. Aloes will generally also thrive. The classic aloe vera, of course, is a really, really popular choice, but there are so many other wonderful aloes out there. There's the huge Hercules, probably not great if you've got a tiny windowsill, because this is a massive aloe, but if you've got a big, really big conservatory, aloe Hercules can hold its own. Aloe aristata, also totally indestructible, will be fine in massive amounts of sun, but will adapt to a bit more shade and can cope with incredibly cold temperatures too, that one. So Aloe aristata, often mistaken for a Haworthia, but generally known as the lace aloe, is a really lovely and adaptable plant. So that's a few suggestions for your very sunny windowsill. If in doubt, choose a cactus or a succulent. Just probably stay away from the Haworthias and the Gasterias, which tend to like a little bit more shade than others in the group. Oh, lithops. I forgot to mention lithops. Of course, stone plants, this is their jam. They want as much heat as you can throw at them, as much sun as you can throw at them. So yes, lithops are another great choice, particularly if you've only got a tiny amount of space to play with, a really narrow space on the ledge, if I can put it that way. I hope that helps, Elizabeth, and if you've got a question for On The Ledge, particularly for the upcoming Q&A, then do drop me a line on theledgepodcast@gmail.com. And if I haven't answered your question yet, then fear not, I shall attempt to get to it very soon. If you don't hear from me in a few weeks, do of course send me a nudge, because as you can imagine, there's a lot of communications flying back and forth at the moment, so some things occasionally slip through the net. Well, that's all for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed my plant tour with Mercy Morris, and I will be back next Friday. I will also try to bring you a midweek bonus episode if I possibly can, assuming that I stay fit and healthy as I am right now. And I hope that you are feeling fit and healthy too, and that this podcast gives you a little bit of a break from whatever stresses and strains you're going through right now. So I'll sign off with plant vibes coming at you loud and proud. Bye. The music you heard in this episode was Roll Jordan Roll by the Joy Drops, I Snost, I Lost by Dr. Turtle, and Whistle by Benjamin Banger. All licensed under Creative Commons. See the show notes at janeperrone.com for details.